Thanks, Eric. Good morning. My name is Jaidev from Bundle.com. Phil Kim, our CTO. Bundle.com provides socially informed money management. What do we mean by that? We think that money should not be managed in a vacuum. It's important to actually learn from other people like you, their successes, their mistakes, how much they spend on different categories, how much they've saved, and actually use that to inform your money decisions. So about 9 months ago, we launched our first product called Everybody's Money, which you're seeing on the screens right now. And basically what this does is it takes data from about 20 million people, and it allows you to customize that data by age, by household status, by income, and in some cases down to zip code to see how other people like you are actually spending their money. So Phil's been a little bit kind with my age over here, but that's Tribeca 10007. And I can see that in Tribeca, people are spending about $1,500 a month on food and drink. If I drill deep into that, I can see that about 1,100 of that 1,500 is spent on restaurants. Now, why is this important? I can actually look at that and say, all right, well, this is an average number. I think I kind of fall somewhere in there. But if I go to the deeper level and actually look at the spread of how much people are actually spending in Tribeca, I can see that the top 10 spenders over there spend over $3,000 a month on just restaurants. So I'm feeling a little bit better about myself right now, but we aren't entirely there. We think that this data can actually be used to help give people perspective on their spending, on their saving. Are you really high and out of whack in some of your spending categories? Are there ways to actually bring you down more towards what the median spend might be? And also, we've launched something on the saving front, where in a very similar way, you can see how other people like you have actually saved their money, where they put it, and the debt that they own as well. On top of that, we think that data is a great thing, but telling stories around data is equally important. So we've launched a social media platform where people can actually comment, generate their own insights, and have a conversation around money in a safe way on the site. Now, one of the things that we heard was that, it's great that people can actually compare your spending and your saving, but a lot of people didn't know how much they were spending or their saving, and they really wanted to integrate their spending and saving with how much other people are spending and saving in comparison. So about a month ago, we launched My Money, which allows a user to aggregate all their accounts into one place. And using the data that we have on this 20 million database, you can compare your spending right here on My Money and look at whether you're out of whack on some of the categories or not. I'm generally feeling quite good, but there's probably room for improvement in a couple of those. So one of the other things that we really looked at in managing the presentation layer of money is that we looked at the gaming market to actually see how transactions should be presented to customers. And one thing that we noticed is that if you just show people something on a spreadsheet, they're more likely to make mistakes. And so visually now, we can show each transaction and what that transaction represents. In a similar way, you can actually click and drag that transaction to a new category if you actually wanted to reclassify it and didn't like what our categorization engine said. And we think that this visual interface is really going to help people make better sense of where their money is going and avoid potential mistakes. But we didn't stop there. We want to use all this data that we have in new and different ways. So we launched a budget engine. And what the budget engine basically does is it recommends a budget to you. You tell me how much you make, and you tell me where you live, and you tell me your age, and I'll propose a budget to you based on what other people like you are doing. Nobody has actually done this before. Most budgeting engines require you to input information by yourself, and people make mistakes because they look at the last month's budget. That's not the right way to do it. Some cases, yes. Most cases, no. So when you actually fill up the budget recommendation questions, we propose a budget to you. And then you can actually start seeing how your spending happens across those budget categories. So when it's colored, that means that the money actually exists in that category. The other thing that we solve for is we know in real life, we all do this. If we overspend in one category, we kind of do the mental math and say, all right, well, I went $300 over on my dining out category, but frankly, I've underspent a little bit on my groceries category, so it kind of evens out. Well, we didn't leave that to chance because approximations sometimes always work against you. So in our case, you can actually take the extra money that you have from one category and put it into another category, thereby balancing out your budget. So the mental accounting is actually done for you right on the site. Now, where we really want to go is there's a lot of backward-looking information that accounting sites and PFM sites generally provide. What we want to help people with as part of our charter is to help people with forward-looking decisions on how exactly they can spend their money in the most wise way and get the most happiness back for all the dollars that they're spending. And we said, how can we use our data for this? So about a month ago, we decided to conduct an experiment. We looked at our data. We looked at how basically 600,000 people spent their money 4.5 million times at Manhattan restaurants over a period of 3 months. I think I said that right. And essentially, we said, all right, well, there's a lot of social media kind of stuff out there that's telling me how I should spend and how I should save. But how are these restaurants actually doing? Where should I spend my money? I like a particular restaurant called Morandi, but frankly, I pay a lot whenever I go there. Can I find a cheaper alternative that gives me a bigger bang for my buck? And so over here, you can look at Morandi. It's got a loyalty index of 4, which means that people go back quite a bit. But if it's got a higher loyalty index, like the next restaurant, Standard, you know what? Maybe I should check that out before I check out Morandi the next time. This is just one example. What we really want to do is take the platform and build many, many new recommendations for people to spend well. Thank you.